What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Saber Reels. This is the Star Wars show here on the Who Are They Real Entertainment Network. My name is Toby Barkwell, and I'm your host of this program, as always. And with me, my main man, Colin Morris. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well, sir. Woke up this morning, 7:30. Couldn't sleep. Thought about watching Star Wars. Instead, I watched some racing, some soccer, then some racing, whatever. Did the Saturday morning thing. That's not my Saturday morning cartoons. But I'm happy to be here with you. Eventually, the master himself, Matt Thomas, will join us. But another happy landing.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Matthew will be on the program at some point tonight. At least we hope so. But we have a pretty fun show planned. This is our first show post Bad Batch being over, so there will be no Bad Batch episode breakdown because there was no Bad Batch episode this week. We will hopefully catch up with our friends probably mid next year, if I had to guess when we're going to get season 2. So definitely be doing that.
Show. Animated shows don't do this like 2-year, 18-month hiatus. Like
right.
What we're watching was done 2 years ago. That's why when the Rebels people came out to all those celebrations from 2015 to 2018, those are the hardest working people in the business because they're legitimately talking about stuff that they did 2 years ago. Like, it's impossible to like keep all that information together. It's amazing none of them slipped.
Right.
They probably handed them stuff like, this is what we're talking about. These are the notes. Like, it's impossible. It's just like so much going on. It'll be next year, though.
Yeah, we've actually... We've talked about this before about how maybe I didn't quite understand how animating film works in terms of like them being so ahead of schedule and when they do the voice acting and stuff. So I would imagine they're working on wrapping up season 2 right now and are going to be starting hopefully a season 3 probably very soon because that's how far ahead of schedule they are. But we will talk about Bad Batch whenever we get closer to season 2. Hopefully it will be around next year. But we do have a couple of news things to get into. Nothing super duper major, but a couple of fun things I want to talk about. And then our main topic of discussion tonight will be the Disney Gallery episode that just aired that broke down the finale of The Mandalorian, that introduced to us in The Mandalorian for the very first time. Spoiler alert, the very own Luke Skywalker. Yes. Plo Koon for the entire episode. But we will get into that a little bit later. But before we get into our news, what did your week in Star Wars look like? Colin, did you buy any new toys? What did you do? I think I know what you did because I did the same thing.
Man, I went to Target once. I saw an Omega Pop. No, I got an Omega. I got a fresh Omega Pop.
Oh yeah, because your other one was busted, right?
My other one was busted. I got a pretty one. I'm gonna try to do some like switcheroo shit where I take that one back to Target and then get my $9 back. And
nice.
We'll with Target. We'll figure that thing out. But like I heard, in anticipation of this gallery event, I decided to turn on the Mando season 2 finale. Why the hell not, right? Like it's bad television. God forbid, turn it on, and just blown away at the amount of suspense that's able to be built in the first 7 minutes. You don't realize Mando gets into his fight with the Dark Troopers like 7.5 minutes into the episode. Like, because they're already there. Like, they're already on the ship. It's not like, not like we have to get on. Like, they're there. It's full blown there. It's not like I keep forgetting, like, episode 7. Like, how hard was that to get through? Because you're like, all right, we got to get to where we're going. We got to get to where we're going. And then when they land it, man, it is something wild and something that like still ekes me. And it's just one of those things. I cannot stand that song that plays when Luke Skywalker busts through the elevator.
Really? You don't like it?
Cannot stand it. I think it sounds like War Stores. Buy it
okay.
on DVD. Like it just seemed out of place, but what seemed kind of familiar was having rewatched Rogue One in the last couple months. They kind of do the same thing with Vader. The music when they go up to Vader's castle is new. And then when you see after Vader says, "Be careful not to choke on your aspirations," Like then they play the bum 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 bum,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they do it again at the end when he's standing on the at the bay of the Star Destroyer, and it works there. But they only hit that Force theme for like 4 seconds when he's in the room with them, and it is just like, oh, I wish we could have just like had the whole
Well,
OG Star Wars last
I
3 minutes of a movie, and then it rolls into but
right. And I don't want to get into it right now because we're gonna break down that whole episode a little bit later. But they talk about that, like they talk about why it was intentional that they waited until that hood pops up to put in the Force theme because they didn't want to give it away that it was Luke until
I'm
he took
sorry.
the
If
hood
these
off.
people making this show think that you didn't realize by the time you saw the green lightsaber,
It was
and
the X-Wing
now
for
we
me.
find out brown hood, and it's not all black; it's a brown hood with a black shirt and
Right,
black
right.
pants, as they specified.
Yeah, I said I don't want to get into it right now. We will definitely talk more about this a little bit later. But
music for me that I think was like the one thing that I still watched, and I was like, this slaps, like it's really good, and then it kind of takes me out because it just didn't sound Star Wars. That's like, I know that's like, I'm not like breaking news here. I know a lot of people kind of felt the same way, but like when I watch things like Rebels or Bad Batch, and even like Bad Batch had its moments where like those themes are very original, but they're also very prequel, and they're very stick to the story. Damn it.
Right.
And they did. And Rebels had its moments where Kiner goes out and does his thing, but he always brought it back home. Just kind of felt like we could have gone a little more home. I just felt like the family came to visit. We didn't go visit them with the music.
No, I definitely hear you. And we're going to break that down completely a little bit later on the show. But before, a couple of little news tidbits. Like I said before, nothing too major. But Robert Rodriguez had his first, not real interview talking about Book of Boba Fett, but he mentioned Book of Boba Fett in this interview. It was with Collider. And this quote I'm about to read to you, Colin, I know you've not read it yet, so you're going to hear it for the first time. But, oh, boy, I'm just going to read it to you. This is what Robert Rodriguez said to Collider. He said, quote, "I can't say anything about it at all right now, but it's coming out in December. Wait until you see what's coming. It's going to blow your mind. That's all I can say. I can talk it up all I want because I know it over-delivers. It way over-delivers. People are going to be so pumped when they see it." Colin, what is your reaction to that quote by Robert Rodriguez?
Well, way over-delivers.
He's being very confident. Like very, and this, I mean, directors do this all the time where they're confident about their movie, right, or their show. But like he is, for his first quote being this positive, man, that's got me really, really extra excited about this thing.
I'm gonna give you the hot take.
Oh no!
Everybody needs to go out right now and get on this Mandalorian Wars comic because it's coming from this. There's going to be stuff in there with these bounty hunter wars. Sorry, not Mandalorian Wars. The bounty hunter wars that's going on right now. They test this stuff. Marvel has literally been testing comic ideas that they've hence turned into movies for like the last 20 years. They've been making comics that have eventually they've found a way to turn into movies. Like Black Panther going to space isn't a new idea in What If. There's a whole comics line by Ta-Nehisi Coates where it's it's the Wakandan space empire. Like they find the space empire of Wakanda. This isn't new. They're gonna blow this thing out with Boba Fett. I just don't. This is not gonna be Bounty Hunter of the Week teaming up with him like it kind of felt like with Mando. I think we're in for. I hope it's 6 episodes. I honestly don't want more. If he says it's that hype, I want 6 condensed, and I mean dense. When I say condensed, I want dense episodes telling us a story. It is the book of Boba Fett. If you want to go back and if you want to tell those stories, there's stuff to do there. Like you can put anybody in that suit, and you can do flashbacks where he's running in with Kira right now in the comic books. Like it's there. So look out. I think this is busting the door wide open, and we could see we see live action Cad Bane, I will literally shit my pants. Like, I will not be able to contain myself. I will lose my mind. Because one, it shouldn't work, right? It shouldn't work.
Mhm.
There's too much going on there. He's got a huge hat. He's got a blue face. He's got bug eyes. And he's got a respirator coming out the side because he can't breathe. And he's huge. But they're going to pull it off. And it's going to be awesome.
No, I think...
or Hondo, anyone. I don't care.
Yeah. I think there's a good chance that we see definitely Cad Bane. I don't know about Hondo. I would love to see Hondo live action, but...
Well, they got the animatronic at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah,
it's incredible in person. Absolutely incredible.
It's real. I'm sure it looks real. It looks better than the Chewbacca that's walking around there. I'll tell you that much.
Right. No, I've been excited for Book of Boba Fett since we found out about it at the very tail end of the finale, and that, bookend where he just goes in and just wrecks shop, takes the throne. And God, that final shot is so hard of just him sitting on the throne and just like, it's amazing. Like that right there. I just want that painting on my wall. Like,
that music tells Star Wars. And
the Boba Fett theme that we're going to continue to see more and more of. Oh, I love it so much. It's so just eerie, and it's already so iconic. Like it's going to work so well when we see it in the full show. But just my reaction to these quotes, he's very, very confident. I liked confidence. I really enjoyed his episode of The Mandalorian where we finally got to see Boba Fett as Boba Fett for the very first time, right? I mean, we saw him teased at the end of the first episode, but this was Boba Fett being Boba Fett that we've all kind of dreamed about and looked forward to seeing one day.
Season 1, episode 5.
Yeah, that's true. But we didn't know it was Boba Fett at that time. This is like him suited up, just wrecking shop, going crazy. And I love his enthusiasm for not only the Star Wars, but for the character. And for those of you who don't know, this was talked about in the gallery series about season 2. Was when he found out he was getting this job, he went into his backyard and had his kids dress up, and he filmed the scene of Boba Fett being reintroduced in costume. And shot for shot, it's the exact same. Like, he did not change much. And he had action figures. Like, action figures was how he figured out what shots he was going to use. Like, his enthusiasm makes me enthusiastic for his show. These comments make me even more excited. I'm like you. I hope it is going to be around 6 episodes, like to where there's no quote unquote. We talk about a lot about filler on the show, but I don't want to see any, Boba Fett adventure of the week. Like, I want to see a story with a beginning, middle, and end. And if Boba Fett's story ends at the end of the show, so be it. If they're going to continue to use him going forward, that would be great as well. But I do want one, full story. And I like your take about them utilizing these Bounty Hunter Wars comics. I think that they might use, they're definitely going to reference them, I think. Nothing major.
Different from Mando. It's so easy to just do what Mando did. It's so easy to just have him be with Fennec, have them doing their thing. I'm interested to figure out why Fennec gives a fuck about him. If it has something to do with Omega, I'm in. I'm so far in. It's going to be ridiculous. Like, if Omega shows up in this show, holy fuck. It is on. It is so on. That would be awesome.
I think there's a good chance. I mean, I take that back. I think that Omega will be...
not know.
No. Exactly. Fennec knows who Omega is. She knows that she is Boba Fett's sister. So
big chance that Ton Wu or whichever one was Omega's person, whichever one died, or whichever one is now working with the Empire.
Right.
She was the one that hired Fennec in the first place. There was a fat chance that she might have spilt some of those beans. Like, why is this a high value asset? And it seemed like they trusted each other more than the usual bounty hunter and contractee, more relationship. They seem like they might go get a beer after the job, like after they pay each other. They just seem to be a bit nicer. So there's a chance she knows more than Boba, which would be an interesting revelation for Boba to have to come to grips with.
I'm pretty
interesting for Boba to have to realize that he's not that fucking special.
I'm pretty confident he knows. I'm confident that he knows about Omega right now. Not saying that he's going to bring it up, but I think too much time has passed between where we are
into each other.
Yeah, too much time is passed between where we are in Bad Batch and when Book of Boba Fett starts. Like you're looking at what? There's 18 years between, give or take about 18 years between the events of Bad Batch and the original trilogy. The original trilogy goes on for what, 4 or 5 years, and then Book of Boba Fett takes place 7 years after that. So that's a good chunk of time for Boba Fett to not find out that he has a sister. So I think he knows. We know for a fact that Fennec
like
Shan
a real
knows.
sister, not like one of those other regs.
Right, exactly. I think he definitely knows. Whether she gets brought up or not, I don't know. I don't know how they're trying to interconnect these shows. I talked last week.
Him Alpha, it's over.
Right? Yeah.
He calls him Alpha, it's over. Like
Yeah. That wouldn't be bad. Or they might just mention it in passing, just to acknowledge like, hey, we got that other show. You guys should go check out if you haven't yet. I've talked a lot about last week about how I think Lucasfilm is really trying to integrate their shows in every way that they can. That way you're benefiting from watching everything, and it convinces people to watch everything, kind of like what Marvel Studios is doing with the shows, right? Like
almost like they're owned by the same company.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's it's very intentional. But no, anyway,
it ain't broke. Don't fix it.
I'm very, very we are not too far from the show. December is right around the corner. I would imagine we will be getting a trailer very soon at this Disney Plus convention thingy that they have going on relatively soon. I don't know. I know Matt knows. Matt is not here. I believe it's in September. Like, so literally in a week. September is in a week. I'm not saying that the event's in a week, but September is next month. So we are a few weeks removed from this thing. Hopefully, getting a trailer and seeing what all the fuss is about.
Will be November 12th, 2021.
November 12th. Okay. See, I think that's
trailer before November.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of too close.
Absolute asinine.
We might get a story trailer then, but a teaser trailer, I bet we get within, I'm gonna say 3 or 4 weeks from right now. We will have a teaser for the book.
Okay, let's do a little research. Let's do a little deep dive.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. I ain't doing nothing.
When The Mandalorian season 1 trailers were released. Let's see here. Okay, we had.
I think it was in October.
Well, so Mando season 1 came out November 12th.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. So that's.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's a different, timeline. Okay, August 23rd. The shot that starts with the troopers' skulls on the ground in the sand.
Right.
With 24 million views, by the way, Spider-Man says. Hold my beer. August 23rd. That is August to September, September to October, October to November. That's 2.5 months. So they could pull a late September, early October.
Mm-hmm.
I think would be wise. I'm not sure if there are any other Disney. Well, you wouldn't release a. They can release these trailers for these shows whenever the hell they want. There's no movie logic to go on here. Like Spider-Man trailer released, so they could put it at the front of friggin' show.
Visions airs September 12th. I believe.
Give Visions 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks from that. That would be dumb. So yeah, let's take that standpoint of the timeline and think if you're a marketing strategist, I want this thing to have its legs for at least 2 weeks.
I was gonna say maybe they air the trailer in line with Visions.
You would crush Visions. You would crush it.
I think that
it would crush the social media trending of Visions. It would absolutely.
You think so? Okay. Yeah, you're probably right. I guess my idea was that show a trailer for Book of Boba Fett, and then at the end of Book of Boba Fett, be also Visions is airing right now.
That I am at work, and I'm just trying to put it all together.
No, I hear you.
It really feels like it would be early October then at that point, because it probably feels like a late December start.
Okay. Yeah, I think late September, maybe last week of September,
probably
first week of October.
Christmas premiere. That's my prediction. Week before Christmas, but it's going to be a Wednesday. So
I say, when is Christmas? When is Christmas?
I hear it's on November 25th.
What day is Christmas?
Christmas is a Saturday, so your dates for Wednesdays in December are the 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, and the 29th. There are 5 Wednesdays in December.
I bet it's the 22nd. That's
Either
my guess.
The 15th or the 22nd.
Yeah, I really, really love that they're doing that too, because Star Wars and Christmas have done so well together. It's become part of my Christmas is watching a new Star Wars, right? And I think that works perfectly. And I was hoping that they would push Mandalorian season 3 to next Christmas. I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to air probably in the spring or the summer of next year, but we shall wait and see. And we have a big old comment.
Dude, but this is probably we owe him $1 because this is a great segue. Truth be told, and I'm in the minority on this one. I would like to see the Kenobi series actually focus more on the politics of the Empire and the relationship between Vader, Kenobi, and Palpatine. I imagine, and I do not know this for sure, but I bet Vader and Kenobi will meet at some point, and despite being evil, Vader or Vadar will keep Kenobi going because he still has some respect, or he'll let him go because he has some respect for him. And I think that relationship of even more is something fans want. Of course, it's what we want.
All right, thank you, Dark Sage, for the comment. Speaking of the Kenobi series,
let's bust it down.
We will address your comment in just a second, but we do have some Kenobi series news, so I just want to mention that briefly. And I wouldn't even say news; it's more of a leak. I don't love talking about leaks, and to be honest, this leak isn't much of a leak anyway. But I just wanted to bring it up because it's been going around the internet this week. But Star Wars Newsnet found some concept art of Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader, and it's him in the Bacta tank. So, in Rogue One, the scene with Vader in the Bacta tank, it's that.
It's not from Rogue One, though.
It's literally that, but it's Hayden Christensen's face model, and that's it. So that's their whole article was about how that's how they're going to utilize Hayden, is him outside of the suit. I think they're going to utilize Hayden a lot more than that, but at least it's confirmed now that we're going to see.
In the suit.
He's going to be in the suit. We're going to see flashbacks, all of that. But anyway, the leak is specifically about this concept art. I'm not going to show it because it is a leak, but you can picture it in your head what it looks like. You've seen Rogue One enough times. I believe that it's just Vader, just no arms, no legs, Hayden Christensen's face, and then a face mask so he can breathe. That's literally it. That's not news to me. I figured we were going to see Hayden in that capacity at some point, but like I just said, I think we're going to see a lot more of him than just him in a Bacta tank. You know what I mean? So not much really to talk about there, but let's address this comment. I kind of want to break it down, so I'm going to pull it back up. So truth be told, he's in the minority on this one. He would like to see the Kenobi series actually focus more on the politics of the Empire and the relationship between Vader, Kenobi, and Palpatine. All right, I'm going to stop there.
Yeah, and what the thing that immediately jumps into my mind there is the Lords of the Sith book.
Mm-hmm.
All of that in there. Like you, and I would be surprised if they didn't. I would pluck a story out of that for an episode. I would watch Vader and Palpatine try to get off that planet.
Right. No, I've not read it, but it's I've heard it's really
Cham
good.
Syndulla finds out where they're going to be. Cham shoots them down, and Vader and Palpatine are stuck on this planet, and they have to get out. Like, there's no cell phones, so and there's no other Sith for them to be force communicate to. So it's just them figuring it out. But that basis of that relationship is so unique, and it shows definitely my favorite perspective of Vader because it's an early Vader. It's a young Vader, and he's just learning how to trust the suit and let the suit do the work. And he slowly realizes, I can let the suit do this, and it just amplifies his force abilities once he figures that out. Like, that's why he's so destructive. Everyone else is out there flipping, doing all this crazy shit with their bodies. He's a fucking cyborg. Like, half of him, more than half of him is machine. It's the quote from Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, it's wild that he was not, obviously he's the most powerful one out of all of them. He's barely trying.
Right.
He didn't do anything.
I'm glad you mentioned Palpatine, Dark Sage. I do believe Palpatine will make an appearance in the show. I think you can book it. Ian McDiarmid was great as the character in Rise of Skywalker. My thoughts on the film aside, I thought he looked good. He acted good.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Stop it. But I definitely think Palpatine will show up. I don't know if they're going to have time to have a Vader and Palpatine story arc because this is only going to be 6 episodes. The title of the show is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Pilot that bitch. Let's go.
Yeah, you never know. So I don't know if they're going to get into that, but I do believe Palpatine will show up.
Palpy Pals.
So
The
continuing
Palpy
on.
Pals. Come on, would you not watch the Palpy Pals?
No, I mean, I don't know if that title works, but I definitely. Anyway, hold on. I imagine I do not know this for sure, but I bet Vader and Kenobi will meet at some point. Despite being evil, Vader will let Kenobi go because he still has some respect for him. Vader and Kenobi are gonna have at it. They're gonna throw swords again. It's been confirmed by Kathleen Kennedy, so we're gonna see them meet again and fight again. Vader letting Kenobi go because he still has some respect for him. I don't know about that. I also don't know if
he's gonna whoop his ass.
Yeah,
he's gonna suplex him, and he is gonna go down on him. He's gonna crush him from like Brock Lesnar from the ropes. He's gonna come down, bam, just bop him.
See, I think it's gonna be a very evenly. It's gonna be an even match. I think they're both going to really, really damage each other, and it's gonna be one of those where like they both have to
dichotomy because Vader says, when we last met,
right? That's true.
I was just a learner. You were the man. Now I am master. And it's like, okay, let's see. Like, because I guess that's always been the line, right? Because I mean, Obi-Wan whoops his ass in Revenge of the Sith. Like one arm. Like, dude's got one arm left. No appendages left. One arm. That's rough. Like, you came out with the L there. Easily Kenobi won that. So I don't know like how this is gonna like be any different. Like, how is it different? I just want to see it.
It's like when you go into like a new Rocky movie or like the Creed movies where it's like, okay, he won in the last movie. He can't win a second time, right? Unless he fights twice, which is usually what they do. He loses and then he wins. So it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, well, Kenobi won the first round and then Vader won the second round.
And train.
But like technically Kenobi and Vader in New Hope is the third round. This is the second round. So it kind of, we're going to have to wait and see how that fight goes. But I like where your head's at, Darkseid. And he says one more thing. Because thing about this, if Vader let Kenobi go and was conflicted into killing him despite all that happened, I imagine the Emperor would not be pleased. Yeah,
he treats him like shit. We know that. The Emperor treats him like shit through that period of time. He's horrible. We know from the other, like if we go back to the original, the story group back then, Force Unleashed was literally them making a clone for, friggin', what's his name?
Starkiller.
Yeah, yep. Starkiller. And like, he's trying to make a replacement. This dude's always trying to replace everybody. He's always got a backup plan. And the second you mess up, it's just like with the, Tarkin and Krennic situation. Second, Krennic messes up, hands it right over to Tarkin, and it's all Tarkin's plaything now. Like, he's just ready to give Tarkin all the toys.
Yeah, thank you, Darkseid, for the comment, adding to the discussion. We really appreciate that because I didn't have much to say about the quote-unquote leak that came out from Star Wars New Net, so I'm glad that you were able to add some value to the discussion. We really appreciate that. But moving on to our main topic of the night, let's talk about this gallery episode, Colin, because I thought it was very interesting, and I know it was intentional by Lucasfilm, but they had not even acknowledged that Luke Skywalker was in the Mandalorian finale up until this point. There had been no merchandise. There had been no official article. There had been like nothing. Like, and as far as Lucasfilm was concerned, besides the episode, obviously, they had not acknowledged Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian because it was that big of a spoiler. They waited 8 months to finally officially talk about this finale. And I thought it was an incredible little mini doc about this. Like, there was so much that I learned about how they brought Mark Hamill on set, had him in costume, had him literally act out all of the scenes, say all of his lines, do everything that was in the final cut. He did himself. And then he went to this thing that they called the egg and did the same exact thing so that they could film his entire head and get all of the lighting correct. And then they brought in the double, had him do the same exact thing, and then they spliced them together. And then they used this was the biggest, most surprising thing about this whole little story is that Mark Hamill did not do any of the lines. It was all computer generated. How insane is that? They literally took lines and words from different interviews for different movies and shows that Mark Hamill has been in his entire career, and they were able to make him do his lines in the show. Like, that's absolutely incredible.
We're talking like documentary lines, like stuff from interviews, like stuff he wouldn't, because obviously if you just took Luke Skywalker stuff, he only says a certain amount of things. You have to run the gambit of everything Mark Hamill can possibly say. It was still so
incredible.
Yeah, to just break it all down. And that was the stuff that stuck out to me, like the whole like deep fake thing was like blow my brains. Like it just made my brain explode. Like
right,
you guys are crazy. Trust no one. I'm not even real. This isn't even me. The biggest thing that stuck out to me was just, I mean, I'm still so team Jon Favreau. Like he is doing this like for us, but he's also doing it for him. And that kind of means something. And he's telling the story that he wants to see. And that seems to be what's working. And he keeps saying that. He's like, this is just stuff me and Dave are kind of figuring it out. And we're just going to keep on going. And every time Dave comes up with somebody, like, yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we could put them in there. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, we could put them in there. It's like, there's the ultimate collaborators. Those two together could literally make anything. They could make a great Mouse Detective, and I would watch it. Actually, that movie would probably slap. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, do it. That'd be great.
Yeah, once they're done with Star Wars, that should be their next project for
Sherlock Holmes with mice. Let's go.
Yes, absolutely. But no, we talked earlier in the show about Robert Rodriguez's enthusiasm for Star Wars and Boba Fett. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's enthusiasm for Star Wars in this show that they've created together is just, it warms my heart to know that they are going to be working on Star Wars for, I believe, a very long time, and that we have really nothing to worry about because the amount of thought and care.
You worried?
No, I was never worried. I'm more worried that this was not going to last very long, that like Mandalorian would come and go and then it'd be on to the next thing for John and for Dave. But it seems like they're going to be working together for a long time, and we are going to see the fruits of their labor for a long time, and that means a lot.
The second Dave let John come up to Skywalker Ranch and they like picked stuff, they were like picking all that stuff on the chef show.
Yeah,
got tomatoes and shit. I'm never eating. Like Jon Favreau's only there for the garden. He just had the best TV show on television.
But no, like the amount of thought and care that went into this decision. To John knew that he's like, all right, there's going to be a Jedi that's going to show up. He didn't know who it was going to be at that time. He was really kind of throwing around ideas, and then he's like, you know what? I think it should be Luke. And he pitched the idea to Kathleen. Kathleen loved it. Dave loved it. So they're like, okay, how are we going to do this? Because it needs to be believable. Like when he takes that hood off and you see that it is Luke Skywalker, if it had been a different actor or if it had been a bad deep fake, if it wasn't believable, it immediately takes you out of that moment. And all of the emotion up until that point kind of goes away, and you're like, oh, that didn't really work. Why did you guys decide to do that? It's not Luke Skywalker. That's not my Luke Skywalker, right? But again, like I mentioned before, they brought in Mark Hamill. They talked to Mark. Mark loved the idea. They got the script ready. They brought him in secretly. There was only a handful of people on set at that time while they were filming his scenes.
They were filming the Robert Rodriguez episode at the same time.
Yeah,
those crazy fuckers. That is absolutely crazy. Oh my god, could you imagine like not knowing and being in the crew? And then you're like, are you kidding me?
Right.
There's like a whole episode. There's like a whole block missing. They're like, wow, this episode ends really weirdly with everybody standing. I guess the episode would end with Gideon on the ground and like the duel for the Darksaber is about to begin, and then the punching on the door, and then it would stop.
Right.
And everybody reading the script's like, wow, this is weird. It just skips to the Book of Boba Fett thing. This is strange. Nah, dude, it's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, like, can you imagine like the excuse that they had to come up with? It's like, well, why is John and Dave not going to be on set today? Like, we're filming Mandalorian right now. Like, what was their excuse? Like, we got another thing. Dave. Like, they call him sick. Like
Dave.
Yeah, you're probably right. So Dave probably was on set for Mandalorian, but John was not.
Yeah, John owned this one. There was not a lot of Dave because Dave's been doing a lot of stuff that we don't know about.
Right. And they even said in the documentary that
He's
that
the
they
only one
did.
not on set too being interviewed, by the way.
Right. And they did it in a day. Like they did all of Mark's stuff in like 24 hours because it was such a big secret. They could not take up, all of that time that they probably would have liked to have. So they did it all in a day. And seeing Mark in costume, man, like I know we saw him in Last Jedi and I love him in Last Jedi. Like I'm not going to talk about that, but seeing him in the classic black with the green lightsabers just was absolutely amazing. And like I said, they brought in, the double. I don't remember his name, but it's uncanny how much he looks like Mark Hamill. If they would have used just him, I believe they could have got away with it. Like I really do. But they're like, nope, we're going to do this 100%. So they brought him in and they put his face on top of Mark's face, and movie magic, as they say, they were able to pull it off. And I love when John was talking about, the reveal for the hood being taken off and you seeing it. He's like, that had to work. If that doesn't work, none of this works. And they were able to make it work because when that hood pops off, I don't know about you, Colin, but when I saw that for the first time, my jaw was on the floor. I was like, it's him. Like there was no doubt in my mind. I'm like, oh my God.
In the morning and I got a
him. You see, I had to wait till that next morning. So I didn't wake up, in the middle of the night to watch it. But
the actor's name Max Lloyd Jones.
Max Lloyd Jones. Okay, yeah. Shout out to him, man, because it's uncanny. And even Mark said,
"You want to be Luke Skywalker? You could be Luke Skywalker. Fuck it, let it go. Screw this. I know you guys hired the deepfake people, but just let that kid do it. Just let him do it. He looks just like him. Mark Hamill said he looks just like me. He said he looks more like me than I do. So, like, you literally just got Luke Skywalker's blessing to do it. I would have said, fuck it. Why are we paying all this money? Let's just get your voice and we'll digitize the voice and we'll dub it over. It'll look really good.
I mean, another thing that was interesting, too, was when they had one of the producers talking about how in every movie, Mark looks a little different. His face is a little different. His hair looks a little different. And the lighting. Like, so they had to get screenshots of every single movie, even screenshots of Mark Hamill not in Star Wars, and just were able to pick and choose which ones would work for Luke Skywalker at this moment in his life. And like, man, again, just the amount of labor and love that went into this, whole art piece. The Luke Skywalker at the end of Mandalorian season 2 is a Star Wars art piece that will live with me forever. Like I will just watch that on repeat. I mean, the episode's great. I feel like we've almost forgot about what happens before that because this is such a pivotal moment. And I believe Matthew, I don't know if you're ready.
I was gonna say before we forget, you can't forget about Dre.
And I didn't know if I didn't want to put him on the spot. So Matthew, welcome to the program.
Hello.
I've been rambling, so give me your thoughts on this Disney Gallery episode. Did you love it as much as we did?
Yes. First off, I want to thank Disney for sending me a critic's copy at 3 a.m. when it dropped for everyone else too. What's the point? 3 a.m. 3 a.m. when it, like for WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier. I get that, but a documentary show.
Yeah, but if you got that shit early, bro, everyone was gonna already know, and all the news articles would already be written. They would just get 3 days early, and I had no need to watch it. Like, Plo Koon was trending at 9 a.m.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that yet, but Matthew, I want to get your thoughts on this whole thing.
Other than me busting Disney's balls, I do actually appreciate the screener.
If he doesn't appreciate them, you can send them to me.
Or me.
But no, I really dug it. It was fun. I'm with Toby. John, Toby and Colin. John and Dave can make great Mouse Detective, and I'd watch it at this point. I will say this personally, I thought the deep fake stuff looked better than what we got. That was just me. Because Toby, I remember we were talking when that came out. I was like, he looked off. Just look off.
We're not there yet. I don't think we are 100% there yet, but damn, it was close enough for me to where I believe it.
Guys, I watched Pirates of the Caribbean 5 for the first time this week. That de-aged Jack Sparrow for 2 frames looks really good. And then the second he starts running around the ship,
it's bad.
Fucked. But when he's standing still, that shit looks good. Like when he picks up the compass, turns around, and you're like, oh damn, that looks like Johnny Depp. That's really Johnny Depp. And then he starts moving. Like, that's not Johnny Depp. It was the second he opened his mouth. That's when it starts. They have not figured out the mouth yet. I don't know how many of these things you guys got to do before you just realize the mouth has to be perfect. If this last year has taught us anything, not being able to see somebody's mouth really changes the conversation when you're talking to somebody. And when the mouth isn't believable, the performance is lack. Everything else can look great. Leia looked great. The mouth and eyes were weird.
Tarkin looked great. The eyes were more the issue with Tarkin.
Tarkin was different.
Yeah.
Because they
completely
did the whole digital thing that they showed in this, where they laid out they showed the layers. It was like a 6-layer construct that they built on top of each other. This was, I'm sure, more than 6 layers, but it was still just the de-aging stuff with the dots and the replacement. Awesome. Just wild. That guy didn't even have dots on his face.
No, he did. They were small. They're smaller.
Or the small dots. I couldn't tell because he's white.
They were small, like small black dots.
Oh, were they black? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just assumed they were I just see the
white ones you see on like everyone else.
No. Specifically, it's the picture of Lupita Nyong'o coming across the table at John Boyega, and she's just got the whole kit on, and she's crawling on the table with the white dots on her face.
Yeah. No, Matt, I definitely hear you about thinking that the deep fake looked better, and I believe that is probably why they brought in this guy for this exact thing.
Imagine if he did it though, and he still released his, and his looked better.
Yeah, I will say this. I know everybody was clamoring for Sebastian Stan, myself, and I know Colin included, because we talked about it enough. I think it made sense not to use him because he is older. Luke, you got to remember, Luke at this point is about 27-ish, 28 years old. Sebastian Stan's in his mid-30s. Couple more years.
McGuire was 27 years old. I don't want to hear it.
Give him a couple more years, and then or an older Luke, and then I'll take Sebastian Stan.
Well, I think if they plan again, I don't know what Lucasfilm's plans are with Luke Skywalker and Grogu, but if their plans were to have a whole show dedicated to him, maybe they bring in one actor to play him in, not only this scene but in the show. But for this particular moment, like John said, it's so short that it needed to be convince the audience this is in fact Luke Skywalker. Mando doesn't know who he is. No one else knows who he is. They just see a Jedi, right? But we know who he is. And that was the most important thing.
That they don't know. I think Cara Dune would fucking know who Luke Skywalker was.
Cara Dune's Cara Dune would probably know because she was in the rebellion. So that makes sense.
She's definitely seen a picture of Luke Skywalker.
Or heard about his legend. And Jesse, I love you, buddy. I really do.
Shout out to Jesse in the chat. But Matt, another thing I want to get your take on, I didn't talk about this at length, but how they were able to generate Luke's voice. Like Mark didn't do the lines.
Same thing they did for Val Kilmer's documentary, Val.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know how they did that.
So that's something Val Kilmer's using now to talk in real life.
Really?
Yes. So
I did not know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because his cancer he had in his throat and everything, he lost his ability to speak, and now that's how he speaks. So I thought that was really cool to know that it was also being used in this. Were there a few lines that sounded a little bit robotic? Yeah, but that's looking at impact from a new point of view.
Yeah, it's like Monday morning quarterback, but in the moment I was like, did Mark do that, or
that's how I was in the moment. Like, did they change it up a bit? What's going on?
But no, I thought it worked. It worked great in the moment, and even watching it over and over again, it still works. Even knowing how they were able to do it. But final thoughts on this
deep fake again. It's the eyes. The deep fake gets the eyes.
Yeah.
There's no light reflecting in Luke's eyes, and when you look at the deep fake, I can see his pupils. His pupils are clear. Like, it looks great. Just shadow behind him. I don't need to see his head connect to his neck or whatever. I don't need to see all the details. Just show me his face. I don't care. It's not hard. Look, this guy did it on YouTube and put it for free.
I think that's why deep fakes to a certain degree are more successful at times than what we've seen when it comes to de-aging and things like this, because they're taking all these different angles and pictures, so they're copying the lighting. So it makes sense.
And I also think that it was really important to them to have Mark there doing it. If they were going to go the deep fake route, they would not have needed Mark to be there at all. They would have just put his face on someone else's. And in this case, they're like, I think it's important to have Mark here. And I'm glad that they went with that decision because, like I was saying before you got on, like seeing Mark in the black costume with the green lightsaber was awesome. Like, and I know that that picture went around on Twitter a few days before, and I didn't want to look at it because I wanted to see it in this.
And let's be honest, realistically, they didn't have to put him in the costume. They did that for him and for themselves.
Oh yeah. And John having
fucking house.
Yeah, they went to his house and did the whole thing. Yeah. And him holding Grogu like that.
His costume. Such a dork. He's the king of dorks.
They went above and beyond for this thing. Like they didn't cut any corners. They were really, really adamant about doing this right.
Why did this take 8 months to come out?
The spoilers, man. They did not want to spoil this thing.
That other one came out like a month later.
No, I was saying before how, besides the episode itself, Lucasfilm had not even acknowledged that Luke Skywalker was in The Mandalorian. Not in an article, not in merchandise, like nothing. Like it had not been brought up.
Funko Pop.
That was too big of a spoiler for them to include in that official release of the Disney Gallery when the season ended. They waited this long to make sure that everyone had a chance to see it, and so the surprise wasn't ruined for them. I know with social media, it's kind of impossible, but I'm glad that they went, the links that they did to keep this a secret for everyone until they were able to watch it, with their own eyes. But anybody else have anything else to add to this thing? I thought it was really, really cool. I enjoyed this documentary a lot more than I thought I was going to. It was a lot longer than I thought it was going to. It was a whole, almost an hour.
Yeah, which pains me because I was the person who I was in love with all the gallery episodes being about an hour before. So to have only 2 this time around broke my heart.
Yeah, I hear you. Yep. But Colin, anything else?
A whole episode on Ahsoka.
Yes, that's my big.
Oh yeah, we
needed a whole episode on that episode.
And she was, no offense, way more integral to the season than Plo Koon. Like,
shout out to Plo Koon.
Like it could have been her coming in there busting everybody down, but it wasn't. Could have just been her.
I don't think I've talked to you about this, Colin. I think I've talked to Matt about it. But when the X-Wing shows up, like, did you know that it was Luke in that moment? Yeah? Okay, good. I was just making sure because there were some people
who X-Wing, Dave Filoni.
Yeah, and see that's why I was laughing because Dave was like, "We drop all these little hints." I'm like, "Little hints."
Yeah. I like their explanation how they wanted it to be a little bit, not super clear who it was until the hood pops off.
In the bot bay.
Relax. That X-Wing, when I shit you not, I'm watching the episode in my bed, right? It's 8 a.m. I'm half asleep. I'm enjoying the episode for what it was. Like, like I said before, there's so much that happens before that scene that's really, really good. But I was enjoying it. When that X-Wing shows up, I shit you not, I popped up like the Manchurian Candidate and was just like, no, this is not happening. This is not happening. And I didn't believe any of it until
I remember getting a text from Toby.
I mean, that was everyone's reaction, man. Like it's still hard to believe to this day that they were able to pull it off.
And I was team not Luke. I didn't want it to be.
I was too. I totally was too. I'm not gonna lie.
He showed up. I'm in. I was in.
It worked.
It worked.
People were talking about like it's Cal Kestis, it's Plo Koon, right? And they used Plo Koon in the concept art and in the story and the script to make sure that this thing was a secret.
They were calling him Plo Koon to his face.
Like, yeah, and they
on set, and they were like, "Yeah, when Plo Koon comes down the hall," and I'm like, "Are you guys serious?" Like, yeah. And then the last shot was the one guy like, "Can I say it?" Luke Skywalker. Like, I can say it now. It's cool.
It's so incredible. That's one of those like documentaries I'm gonna watch again. Like, I definitely want to watch that again and really break down each of their quotes, because again, like just the love and care that went into this thing was really incredible. And
music, I needed more from my boy.
Well, that was another thing I wanted to talk about, is how John said that it was intentional, that they were not going to use the Force theme until you knew 100% sure that was
I
Luke.
wanted a whole episode on Ludwig again.
Oh, right. Yeah,
I want to see him make my favorite piece of Star Wars music that's ever existed, and that is the Dark Troopers theme. He put dubstep in Star Wars, and I was like, are you kidding me? That's what happened, dude. I heard the dubstep song. And then I heard the fake Force theme song before the Force theme, and I was like, what is this shit? Ludwig, what are you doing here? Like, you just struck gold. And then you had to like not do it. I could get it. They didn't want him to do it. I get that, but it was just, come on.
Matthew, any other thoughts about this Disney Gallery episode?
I want more. That's where I'm at. I want more. Like, I want more, man.
You want more Mando? You want more?
I want more gallery episodes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I eat that stuff up.
I'm that guy who, when I buy a movie for the first time after months of seeing it, I don't go to watching the movie first thing again. I go watch the special features, the behind the scenes making, documentary, all that stuff. Like, that's just who I am, because I love this stuff.
No, I am with you. I still think that the director and the Jedi is like a must watch, like, in congruency with The Last Jedi. Like, those things go together so well. You get so much backstory about why Rian Johnson made the decisions he made. And I think that's important, because obviously, any art is left up to interpretation, but hearing it from the director's own mouth, his intentions on why he made the decisions he made, I think is very important in understanding, the art that he created or she created. So I definitely want to see more of this stuff as well. But that is going to do it for this installment of Saber Reels. Matt, hold on real quick. Your quick thoughts on the Robert Rodriguez quote and this leak for the Kenobi series.
Didn't get to read the Rodriguez stuff. The Kenobi stuff, I got really excited. It makes sense. I feel like part of me was like, oh, they're stealing from Star Wars Theater. I'm like, no, don't say that. Star Wars Theater is a dick. This is probably in the plan before that.
Yep. Okay, but anyway, long story short, Robert Rodriguez is very confident in Book of Boba Fett. He said it's going to blow people's minds. He's not over-exaggerating. People are going to absolutely dig it, and that makes me feel good going into it, because we're only a few months removed from the first episode.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, so much fun, exciting Star Wars stuff coming very, very soon. We will be breaking it down every single week here on Real Geek Core. No, I'm just kidding. Here on Saber Reels. We will hopefully see you guys next week. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure we'll come up with something between now and next Saturday. Matthew, thank you for joining in late. Colin, thank you for being on this program. As always, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We have so much great content for you to watch on this Who Are They Real Entertainment Network. So make sure you please go through our back catalog of all our old episodes, catch up, and find what you like, find what you don't like, and tell a friend. We really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. May the Force be with you always.